A couple years ago, I made a video about Agiye Hall. At the time of the video, Agiye Hall was just coming off his true freshman campaign in Alabama, and he just entered the transfer portal. Fast forward to present day, he was originally going to be at his third school, which was UCF, but recently got arrested for having 40 pounds of weed on him at the Orlando airport. What happened to Agiye Hall? To start this video off, I'm going to be talking about Agiye Hall and his high school football career. Coming out of high school, Agiye Hall was one of the best players in the 2021 recruiting class. He was a composite top 50 player in the nation, the composite number 5 receiver in his class, which was a receiver class that was stacked with talent, by the way. Agiye Hall would attend several different high schools: Armwood, IMG, and Bloomingdale, all in the state of Florida. He would really rise in the ranks of recruiting after his breakout sophomore campaign, where he would record 47 receptions for 878 yards and 10 touchdowns. During this breakout campaign of his as a sophomore, Agiye Hall would attain a few offers during the season. However, he would really get a lot of traction after the full sophomore campaign, and that's really when his recruiting really started to take off. Agiye Hall would finish his high school career with 2,688 receiving yards, averaging 19.1 yards per reception, 33 touchdowns in the air, and he closed his high school football career with a 1,000-yard season with 13 total touchdowns through the air. He would garner a total of 42 total offers coming out of high school from some of the biggest powers in college football. We're talking about some blue bloods, schools that are yearly competing for the national title. He would be a consensus top 75 guy on every platform. He was an Under Armour All-American, and he was committed and signed to Alabama. Everything seemed to be going Agiye Hall's way. As a true freshman at Alabama, there were some expectations that he could come in and have a role in that offense. However, that wasn't exactly the case for Agiye Hall. He would play in a total of 7 games for the Crimson Tide in 2021, where he would record 4 receptions for 72 yards. It is also worth mentioning that during this entire freshman campaign of his, that off the field, Agiye Hall was posting encrypted tweets that made it seem like he was going to transfer, or at least was very displeased with his freshman playing time. However, at that time, nothing really came true. Again, it was all hearsay, she says, or just really looking at tweets and assuming whether or not he was going to leave the team. Agiye Hall would indeed not transfer from Alabama, as some outsiders looking in may have thought during the season. Agiye Hall was expected to have a big role with the Crimson Tide in 2022. While there were indeed some expectations of a more involved 2022 campaign, Agiye Hall would never have the opportunity for this big role that he could have had in 2022 with Alabama, as he was removed from the roster in the spring of 2022 and suspended from the team. He would then enter the transfer portal and end up at Texas. While there were questions regarding Agiye Hall and his off-the-field issues, it was thought that he could put it all together and could be a great weapon and addition to that stacked Texas wide receiver room. That room was seen to be very elite, and at the time when he committed, he was expected to have some kind of role in 2022, but especially be a big-time target for the Longhorns in the future, in 2023, and even maybe 2024. However, Agiye Hall would get in trouble early in his time at Texas, getting arrested for criminal mischief right before the season. He would get suspended and he would play in a few games, but nothing really ever notable happened because he was a backup and was in hot water as is, and would enter the transfer portal for a second time in his career after the season. He would not be on a team for the 2023 college football campaign. After being out of football for an entire year, it was reported during the 2024 college football offseason that Agiye Hall would join UCF as a walk-on. And when this announcement happened, a lot of people were rooting for Agiye Hall, as it seemed like he could potentially be heading back to the right path, going to a program where he could potentially have a role for, whether it was 2024 in some kind of capacity, or even further to 2025, where just overall a spot where he could have a resurgence and revival in his career. However, Agiye Hall would never officially join the team. and recently was arrested at Orlando Airport for carrying 40 pounds of weed. It is very unfortunate to see how Agiye Hall's career has panned out to be, as it isn't because of skill or not being able to keep up with the college competition, but because of the actions he partaked in off the field. It is likely that we may never see Agiye Hall play at a high level collegiately again. Heck, maybe even a chance we may never even get to see him play a snap of college football again, as his arrest he just had is going to be a very serious matter, and this is very unfortunate to see a player that had all the potential coming out of high school and truly did seem like he had a chance to have a good career at Alabama. Yes, he was a backup his first year, but if you looked at the trajectory and just the reviews he had, it did seem like there was a chance he was going to have a big role in the future, but ultimately, off-the-field issues have taken away any potential of what we could have seen from Agiye Hall in his college football career. Well guys, if you made this far in today's video, drop something down in the comment section below what future videos you want to see on the channel next. Smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, and subscribe if you haven't already. B. Kelly out.